The Doing Good model and Essence of Life Radio present Good Talk, one-on-one conversations with leaders and various experts on the question of whether doing good is good business. And today, Ofek Ron is the co-founder and CEO of Plantish, an Israeli startup creating plant-based whole fish fillets in an effort to tackle the overfishing of our oceans. Prior to starting Plantish, Ofek served as Vice President of Global Business Development at Vegan Friendly and directed Vegan Friendly in the UK. Before that, he was the CEO of Software Sources, for which he still serves as a board member. He also was the founder and co-CEO of a promotion and production company. Since 2021, he has been focusing his efforts on Plantish, with the mission to create fish made entirely out of plants, while he also continues to serve as a board observer at Vegan Friendly. Hi, Ofek. Welcome to Good Talk. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Excited to be here.
I'm excited too. So in the last decade, you've done so much in so many different fields, from voluntarism, activism, NGO work, entrepreneurship. So tell me a little more about how you got to where you are now and how the whole idea of Plantish came about.
Great. I'm happy to. So about 10 years ago, back then I was in the military service. I became vegan after being exposed to what happened to animals in the food industry for years. And it became something that I didn't think it would be my main work or like the main part of my life, but I just wanted to, stop consuming anything from animals. But through the years, I was doing more and more in that field, and I just realized that this is what I want to do for a living, if it's possible. So when I realized that, I was managing a software company, and Vegan Friendly, it's an NGO that I was one of the first ones to volunteer there and to start these things a few years ago.
And now it's huge.
Now it's huge, yeah. And I was like a board member there and just enjoyed seeing it from the side, how it's growing, and support wherever I can and whenever I can. And suddenly it became something that can employ me. So even though I was sitting on a very nice salary as a CEO of a software company, realizing that I can move and work 100% for veganism and for things that I truly believe in, excited me. And I just did that move with the support from my wife back then. And since then, there is no way back. When you're starting to work in something that is like a part of you, nothing can beat it. It doesn't matter if now, someone will come and offer like $1 million check, just go and manage a software company again. I would never take that because I'm now using my time, which is the most expensive part of my life, on doing something that is truly something I believe in.
And that's really priceless.
Yeah, it's priceless. And I moved to Vegan Friendly, and I was building the organization from about 4 employees when I joined to about 40 employees when I left. From a small branch in Tel Aviv to a multinational NGO with branches in the UK and today in the US. And what I was doing there most of the time is actually doing the go-to-market strategy for the global brands in Israel. So I was working with brands like Nestle and PepsiCo and Strauss and huge companies, and I was helping them to get with their plant-based solutions to the audience in the best way possible and to build that market in Israel. And it was quite successful, but on the same time, I saw that there is no alternative for fish. And when I saw that, I tried to convince them to do alternatives for fish. But what was the most interesting about fish is that everyone consumes fish as fish. Because if you consumed meat yesterday by accident, so probably you consume it as a burger, as a schnitzel, as nuggets, hot dog. You have many types, which is actually ground meat. But if you ate fish yesterday, 80% chance you ate it just as fish.
A whole fish fillet.
A whole fish fillet, not a fish burger, fish fingers, or any other form of ground fish. People like to eat fish in the nature way. And that wasn't available, technology-wise.
And it still isn't, correct?
It still isn't, right? So that's the point that I realized that there is a company that I need to build. And then I just decided to go for it. So that was the beginning of Plantish, the desire to create a fish without any knowledge in technology, any knowledge in food science, but with a lot of knowledge of the market, of how to get products right to the market, and to identify the need. So that's when I started thinking about Plantish, and then just found the best scientists that I could ever ask for. And they were also intrigued to do it with me. So we started Plantish together, about 4 co-founders, me and 3 PhDs, trying to solve the technology barriers on creating whole-cut fish. And today, we solved many of those, let's say, problems that we faced in the beginning, and we can create today a whole-cut fish in our lab, and soon we'll have it in scale so you can eat it in restaurants and later in retail.
Great, so you're getting there.
Yes.
You are getting there. And so when did you first realize that this noble idea also had a great financial potential, that there was such a strong connection between doing good and business prosperity?
So it's a very good question, because if you ask me, it's way more easy. It's easier to create like a software company, or it was like if you're into business for money, maybe it's not the best business, not because there is not a business potential, because it's super hard, super capital intensive, and you're gambling on people to change the way they eat fish. And that's something that I'm betting my time on. And I'm thankful that many investors are betting their money as well on us. But basically, why I think there is a business potential, it's easy, because we're running out of fish. And that's why we started Plantish. We're running out of fish. And if we won't find any alternative for fish, we're just going to have an empty oceans in the next few decades. And that's why there is no other way. Okay, so we can try to make larger fish farms, or we can try to maybe fish less fish, but the only way we can solve this issue is to find an alternative for fish that people will be happy to eat. And that's why there is a potential, because it's a $500 billion market, all the seafood industry. And the player that will be able to provide with the best alternative, this will be a very good business as well. But that's the only enabler for us to do something good for the world. And none of us came to this for the income, okay? We came to make a change, and that's the way we operate daily.
You mentioned the trust, gaining the trust of the investors. And I'm wondering what other challenges are there in getting others on board? You got this team working with you, you got others on board. What are some of the challenges in getting the wider community, consumers, investors on board with this great idea?
So I think the main challenge is going to be the consumer adoption, because in the end, people consider fish to be healthy, which every doctor will tell you fish is healthy. Stop eating, red meat, go eat fish. And the main reason that people are stopping to eat meat today and starting to consume some alternatives, whether it's Beyond or Impossible Burger or just, quinoa, it's from health reasons. And we have a larger challenge because people considered fish to be healthy. However, there is a lot of issues with how we produce fish today. You have tons of antibiotics if it's raised in farms. You have mercury in the oceans. You have microplastics that are coming into the fish, and you are not aware of if the fish is good or not. And if it's poisoned, it's very risky to eat it. So even one day more in the fridge, very risky. So there is a lot of safe issues with the fish, a lot of potential damage that you can get by eating fish, but people are not aware of it. And to get people aware that there might be a healthier alternative than eating fish, that's the largest challenge for the industry of the alternative seafood. And if I'm worried about the company to succeed, I'm worried about consumers knocking on the doors of the supermarket asking for our products more than the quality of the product, the scale of the product, and our ability to raise money. So that's the main challenge. And we're, from today, building this educational articles, speaking in conferences, and just teaching people about this industry and why they should look for an alternative from the health perspective, for the sustainability perspective, and also for the animal rights perspective. And if people will be more educated, that's the way they will be looking for alternatives, and we will be there to provide it.
So it's really about shifting perception of consumers.
Yes.
And so we talked about the challenges. What are some of the opportunities that you see in the plant-based food industry? What are some of the opportunities today?
I think today there are many brands like us that are trying to tackle the consumer, but for that brands like us, there is a lot of needs in scale, in improvement of taste, improvements of texture, improvements on business processes and R&D processes, and the next generations of companies that are going to be successful. I'm guessing that they're going to be giving services for the CPG companies like us. So if we can, instead of investing 6 months of development to get a better texture, maybe there is an machine learning technology that in 1 week can get us there. So we can get with products faster and better. I think that the next generation in the plant-based foods is going to be those kinds of companies and providing technologies for the food manufacturers and not additional products.
So lots of opportunities for partnerships.
Yes.
And business partnerships, and what we call expanding the circles of impact, getting others on board. And sounds like there's so much more to be done in that field of the partnerships. And I know you talk a lot about your team and your staff. And so what is your profile for someone who wishes to join this industry or to get on board? What do you like to see when you
So I think it's a very good point, because we are looking for mission partners. When we are hiring someone, the skills come after. If we see someone who is motivated to join the team, who is motivated about the change we're offering to the world, that excites us a lot more than someone coming with all the check marks on that and that experience, that and that professionality. It's super important as well. But if we don't have this spark in the eyes of working towards something so big and so important, this guy, we will send him or her to the company on the street.
Competitors.
To the competitor, because everyone at Plantish truly believes that what we're doing is super important, and that's what drives them to stay, to invest more time, and to succeed. And since we opened the company, it was a year and a half ago, no one left. No one left, even not one person.
So employee retention has not been an issue.
No.
Plantish.
No. If so, it came from our side maybe, but no one has just, left because people really understand that they found also their mission as well, to be investing their time, not just in doing money, but also in doing good, but in a super important subject.
And we know that people today are looking for meaning at work. They're looking to be a part of a mission they believe in.
Not everyone, but the ones that are working with us, definitely.
They're definitely on board.
Yeah, still great employees are working in the gaming industry and gambling industry and some other industries which are not doing good necessarily, but people are having great time working there. But those guys are not for us, probably, unless they want to change in their life.
So you're looking for particular people to get on board, to be a part of the mission?
Yeah, people that the mission come first for them.
And speaking of mission, what is your vision in terms of the impact that you hope to see in the world, in the food industry, from a doing good perspective?
the moment we know we succeeded is the moment when you go to the grocery store, to the fish area, when you ask for the salmon, and you see our salmon there as the main option. That's the part we know we succeeded, and it's not about how much the company worth that time, how much money we make. That's it. When we created the fish alternative not to be an alternative. And
it's the default.
The default, right? When it's the default, that's the part we succeeded, because that's the part, the impact should be so big on the ocean, and we will start seeing fish again in the ocean. And that's the point that we're looking to see.
And that would be considered a success for you.
Definitely. That's a success, even if we failed from any other perspective.
Ofek, what words of advice would you offer someone, a manager, an employee, an entrepreneur, an activist, someone who wishes to get more involved in purpose-driven missions like yours or others?
So I think there are many, many opportunities. They're not always the best opportunities, but they are good enough to create sustainable, large businesses in many impact-driven ideas. And just go for it. You can go to Startup Nation Central, see all of the companies in the climate tech, food tech, all of those impact-driven companies, and apply. When someone is writing to me as a potential candidate that he's so motivated to work for impact-driven company like Plantish, I want to meet him. I want to meet her. I want to see the person. So if you as an activist are going to do it for many companies, one will get you. And that's, and you know, put it as an important thing when you choose where you want to work for or what you want to work for. So, and just go for it. There are many opportunities, not only in food, but if all the greatest brains in Israel will work for those kind of companies, the world will be a lot better, because we're wasting today tons of brains for unimportant stuff. And that's frustrating. You know, to see the most intelligent people I know working for a feature in a game. Let's use this brain to create something that will make the world better. And, you know, it's possible.
to really make the change in the world.
Yeah, it's possible. They just need to navigate their brain to a better cause. It doesn't matter if it's Plantish or any or other stuff, but just do something meaningful.
Something meaningful to them, something purpose-driven.
Meaningful not to them, meaningful for others, you know, because most of the startups in Israel today are improving the lives of US citizens that are already quite improved. But many of
First world problems we're solving.
But we're not solving the real problems, you know, starving people in Africa, animals that are being slaughtered every day for no reason, you know, climate change issues. Most of the people not working for that. And there are many opportunities to work for that. And so we just need to change the way people think about their career. It's not only about you building yourself. In the end, you want to know that you made something meaningful in your life. And think about it today, not in 30 years after you finish working and then you will volunteer somewhere. You can actually use your time today for the benefit of the world. And that's what I encourage every listener to do.
Absolutely. And in the Doing Good model, we really believe that everything starts with the individual, and it's all about the people, caring for other people, caring for the environment and the planet. And you do that every day. So when can I try? You
can try today, but when the public can try next year. So we're now building the first factory for Plantish, and it will be available next year already in a few restaurants in Israel and in the US. So be ready for that.
Wonderful. I'm ready. Can't wait to try my first plant-based salmon. Whole fish fillet. And I really want to thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Joining me at Good Talk. It was wonderful talking to you today, Ofek. Thank you.
Thank you.